childhood used to play, and where the old folks rest, must be to be where I meet the dearest and the best. And though I roam o'er hill and dale, and rave on Neptune's foam, o'er crags and rocks and mossy dells, I still will turn me home. For when at length I come to die, I want a gilded tomb. Just let me rest within thy breast, where thy sweet flowers bloom, where thy sweet flowers bloom. Guyana, Guyana, this fair land of ours has broken the bondage of our distant far. We love you, Guyana, from island to sea, and pray God make worthy your children to be. All hail to Guyana, our country now free. One people, one nation, one destiny. We pledge every effort, we'll cherish this earth, and make there a paradise forever. No rich Eldorado has ever been found, no many have ended their lives on this ground. For laboring country in all fields and fields, will give us the wealth and the full harvest yield. All hail to Guyana, our country now free. One people, one nation, one destiny. We pledge every effort, we'll cherish this earth, and make here a paradise forever. Purpose and vigor, we'll harbor on faith, on whom by distraction, prejudice and hate. Together we'll strive for our new nation's goal, inspired by goodwill and kinship of soul. All hail to Guyana, our country now free. One people, one nation, one destiny. We pledge every effort, we'll cherish this earth, and make here a paradise land of wonder. From Paparaiba speaks of birth to Collate the sons, where children pledge each faithful heart to guard Guyana's lands, to foil the shock of rude invader who violate our earth, to cherish and defend forever the state that gave them birth. We'll forge a nation's mighty soul, construct a nation's frame. Freedom our everlasting goal, courage and truth our aim. Unyielding in our quest for peace, like ancient heroes brave, to strive and never swing and breathe. They do our quality with unforgiven changing great nation's unity.
Marching towards the shining future, courage high, the past is gone. Live for coming fear and counting mountain glory, sun and stone. The storm comes dark and blowing, through face lightning flash and flame. On the Republic of Guyana, glorify Guyana's name. Forward, forward, youthful nation, rang with power the husband's might. May his strength forever gratitude to strive and season be for right. From Guyana's base from summit to white surface streets that rain, build thy people, dear Guyana, strong, united, loyal, free. My Guyana, my Guyana, my Guyana. My Guyana, Eldorado, rest of all the world away. In my heart wherever I wander, memory enshrined thee. All my hopes and aspirations, all my longings, only tie everlasting bonds around us as the fleeting years roll by. My Guyana, Eldorado, my Guyana, times unfolding and for my destiny, to redeeming lasting splendor for the years that lost for me. And the glory of thy glory, for the long, long night is past. Oh, arise triumphant, glorious, from the ashes of the past. Oh, arise triumphant, glorious, from the ashes of the past.
All right, so you might be wondering where we are. Still in Buxton at Club Twilight. That's where we are. So Club Twilight also has like an Airbnb as well. So you could come, drink, drunk, and come in the back here and lie down. Look at that. Look at that. Perfection. And the people come in the room and so on. The bed sheet matching the blind, matching the carpet, matching the this, matching the that. We know but we things in Buxton don't play with we. So definitely if you want to come and you may be having a wedding or whatever and you just want to overnight and just have a good time because you're going to be drunk. We got too much road accidents. So you definitely want to come, drink, have a good time. They have several rooms that you can rent. You have your toilet, you have your bath, you have your sink, you have your dining area, you have the bed. This is nice. I like it. Anyways, to my friends and my family, if you're looking for me, I'll be overnighting. Also for those persons who are traveling in from overseas, you want a nice, cozy place out of town, then Club Twilight, call them up, look them up on social media. They have their own Facebook page, and ensure that you come up the side and have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. Sorry.
To Amsterdam, I think I only get 3 pylori. You see, when the function finish, right? The egg ball keep them people in it. Oh my goodness. And it's like, so we got whole tub of sauce. It's like, let's have a little Mr. Amsterdam. Everything shine, shine, shine. I haven't gotten to taste anything because, like I said, I just eat 3 pylori. Everybody complimented the stuff. It was tasty. All of them munch down and come back and load up. Certain places you can go and get proper stuff, but uh, the sauce is more than enough. I appreciate the variety options.
At Lou's Kitchen, it's no idle boast. Call us for the best in Creole food. 653-3205. Lou's, the original Creole chef.
Born in the land of the mighty Roraima, land of red rivers and far-stretching sea. So like the mountain, the sea, and the river, great wide and deep in our lands would we be.
Hey, morning, hi, morning. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is 4 minutes past the 7 o'clock hour. It is the second day of September in the year 2025. Welcome to the program. It's the day after elections. It's the morning after. A lot of people want to know what the results are. And I can give you a reassurance, I'm not GECOM. How you been? How was it yesterday? How was it last night? I can tell you my yesterday was tough. It was a long and arduous day. Started somewhere around 2:30 yesterday morning and ended somewhere around 1 o'clock this morning. So I perhaps did a full 24 hours day on my feet out there working for the democracy of this country, working to get the government, the PPP government changed in this country, working for Guyanese citizens to have a better chance of success. I'm sure many of you were, if not physically, there spiritually with me and others doing that same kind of work. So I can imagine the anxiety. I can understand you want to know what is the results of your work. What are the outputs from your inputs, right? But the reality is GECOM will make that call at some point in time. The party, I can tell you from where I sit, the APNU has not started crunching numbers. It is still information gathering phase because every statement of poll has to be collected and then processed. And so we can get the numbers coming out and the stories coming out of those statement of polls. According to GECOM, they will just collect those statement of polls and throw them up on the website before they start crunching numbers. I believe that in itself is going to lead to its own chaotic situation. Because the untrained mind, if I can call it that, will see statement of polls being thrown up on GECOM website. They will look at numbers and they will form their own opinion. Some people are going to become hysterical. Some people are going to become maybe demented. You know, all kinds of things will happen in people's minds. And many unhealthy things. So I don't want to be the one to be calling any election suggesting win, lose, or draw without the benefit of the facts. But there's some things I can tell you from the election, or from where I stood in the elections. Those of you who are tuned in to Mark Bench Cup last evening will know for a fact that I call it as a low voter turnout. The turnout was, I want to say, abysmal if you look at the voters list. I had quote unquote supervisory responsibility for a section of polling stations, 13 polling stations in the Monrepo area. Mark last evening called telling people I was going to give them update about Buxton, assuming that I was situated in the Buxton electoral area. Yes, I'm situated in the Buxton electoral area. I've had my responsibilities in the Buxton electoral area. But given the fact that Monrepo turned up in the last election as one of the hotspots, it was decided that we need some strong folks over there. And I don't know who told them that I'm strong, but they decided to send me over there. So I function really and truly over in Monrepo. And I can tell you that looking at the turnout in Monrepo, I was able to say this is an election that has a low turnout, because I know that the Indo-Guyanese community, Collate, the PPP, is bullish on getting the vote out. And they had a number of stations across the community checking people's ID and sending them to the place of poll and so on, and escorting them to the place of poll and so on and so forth. And when all of that activity was taking place, and you look at the turnout, I recognize that this turnout here is just about 50-something%, less than 60. In many instances, less than 50% for a polling station. So this election, the turnout nationally is going to be very low. As I started asking myself, who benefits from an election that has a low turnout? Who benefits from an election that has a low turnout? And I'm saying, to remove a government, you need a high turnout, you need big numbers to remove a government. Because as I would say, you're starting from zero. And so if your numbers, if the turnout is low, in my head, I'm saying the PPP might very well still be in government. GECOM will have to make that declaration eventually, who forms the next government. But I'm hearing in my head, the PPP might still be in government. Might. Note I say might. Good. Because all the numbers, I only saw what happened at that polling station, those polling stations. And I'll tell you, the PPP won every single polling station in that area, as is expected. As is expected. They've always been that area. But the turnout wasn't as magnanimous, if I can call it that, as you saw in the past. And so the question again that crossed my mind is, low voter turnout tells me, from my layman point of view, these things. People really fed up with the government. They ain't coming out to support them. The list is really, really bloated, like we have been pointing out. I know for a fact the list is really, really bloated. And people don't believe in this so-called democracy or this so-called democratic process. They don't trust it, they don't believe in it, and so they refuse to participate in it. If that is the case, none of those things are good for Guyana. None. Aye. None of that is good for Guyana. Give me a minute. Hey. Oh, there are requests for people from What about the always system? Because you go, you already you did them. Because you do it. All right, well, perhaps you could collect it and walk it. Oh. All right. I'm on that. You're talking. Yes, folks. You almost in my name of business. Sometimes new businesses you alone too. So eh. So for those of you who are minding my business, if you heard me talking, and if you understood what I was talking, then that for you is basically confirmation too that the party start crunching numbers here. Good. So I was saying, none of the reasons I preferred could be considered a good thing for this country. A really, really bloated list can be good for the country because then you don't get a true sense of what your voting population is. And you can't make decisions based on that as a populace. Likewise, if people don't trust the democratic process or people don't see anything democratic about the process, then that too can be good. And so some lessons I got immediately from looking at the turnout is whoever forms the next government, and government includes both administrative and legislative, government as in government and government as in opposition, must be willing to sit and address how we are going to fix the electoral system in this country, starting with the voters list, so that we can give to our citizens some amount of trust, some guarantee that they're participating in a process that is truly reflective of their desires. Because at the end of the day, when a citizen votes, it is his or her desire that they're exhibiting. And so if I can partake in a system that I know will truly represent quote unquote my ideal, then I might as well don't participate. And so you end up in a country where people don't participate in the quote unquote democratic processes because in their mind, it really it makes sense. I'd say you're gonna at some point in time in my head arrive at a point of anarchy where money run things. The highest bidder will start the show. That's not a society any of us would like to live in. At least I am thinking so. And Jagio admits that the turnout was low. I saw Kaichunyo's article where he's, as usual, blaming the opposition for a low voter turnout. I really am trying to understand. Oh, he said APNU did not do enough work to bring out the vote. So again, he's saying, he's intimating that, or my interpretation, forgive my mind, is if the turnout was low because APNU did not do enough work to bring out the voters, then he's saying they did enough work to bring out the voters. And so if they did enough work to bring out the voters and they brought out the voters, if he is satisfied that they brought out the voters, then they should remain in government. But GECOM will make those declarations. The APNU and all the other parties who contested these elections will look at the numbers and see where they're pointing. So we will know if the PPP really brought out the numbers to stay in government. But one of the things you know for a fact is that you have a man as a leader of a political party not willing to accept or take any responsibility for the outcomes of this election. Whether good or bad, say, hey, the low voter turnout is because APNU didn't do enough work. He doesn't see it as the low voter turnout is because people don't trust the system. They don't have any confidence in the system. He doesn't see the low voter turnout as a result of people's frustration, because there were people all around this country, and it's something I warned about, who complained that they went to places where they normally would vote and they couldn't find the name. They had to, everybody right at Monroe side. Thank God the polling places were in close proximity. Thank God for that. People had to be traversing up and down to find where exactly in that small area they were voting. Because the PPP and GECOM gerrymandered the vote. They shifted people around in the hope of bolstering a places where they would win, so that it will suit them. It will give them an advantage over the opposition. But to some extent, in my mind, that backfired, because a lot of people, when they check and they ain't find any way they're accustomed to, must have simply said, I know it. Right? But like I said, what are the lessons going forward? We got passed some legislation that will fix our electoral system. And looking at this abysmal performance of GECOM, we had misunderstanding and ignorance right up to the close of poll and close of counting and everything. We got to throw that out. We have to throw that out. We have to break that down and rebuild it. Look around the world for an example of a system that works and try and implement it here. Good. I see Dexter Shawin is saying, with all due respect, I don't think you should be talking about elections until the results come out. Fine. You're entitled to that opinion. But I know that there are people who've been looking forward to hear. The first thing I come on here, I see somebody asking what's the results of the election. People want to know what transpired. Like I said, I can't give you the results of the election. First and foremost, GECOM. Secondly, the APNU has not started crunching any numbers. But I can tell you of the lessons learned from yesterday's events. What has the low voter turnout taught me or said to me or indicated to me? But let me make some projection. I see somebody saying Linden voted Win and PPP. If Linden voted Win and PPP, good for them, bad for the APNU. And time will tell, because choices have consequences. But like I said earlier, listening to Jagdio, looking at the low voter turnout, thinking that to get a government out, you would need a higher turnout of voters. I'm assuming that the PPP might still be in government. How does that benefit Linden? How does that benefit Linden? Time will tell. How does that benefit So Vahel Porres is saying basically the same thing. Incumbents in local elections, incumbents with strong name recognition have been shown to benefit from low turnout. So how does that help Linden if they voted Win and they voted PPP? I maintain, after the elections, it's time to build a nation, or we build a nation and work together to get some semblance of a cohesive nation. But I maintain a vote for Win is a vote for the PPP. Because a vote for Win reduces the possibility of removing the PPP from office. And so if there are people across this country who wanted to vote to keep the PPP in office and voted to keep the PPP in office, let's see how that happens. Here is my take going forward. And I know political scientists, but this is my take going forward. Assuming the PPP is still in government, they will definitely be a minority government. Right? Even if the APNU is in government, they too will definitely be a minority government. But I'm because of low voter turnout, and I'm arguing in my head it's likely to benefit the incumbent. This is my position. Assuming they're still in government, I want to see the PPP get no budget to run this minority government. And so from where I'm sitting, the opposition must go to parliament from day one saying we will not pass the PPP budget. And once we are not passing your budget, we are going to force you to go back to elections, because the next step for me is to call a no confidence motion. Kwame Simon, whoever you are, I don't know who crying. An idiocy like this just aggravates me in the morning. Jackass, it's time to move on with your jackassery. At least from where I sit, I think we are trying to have an intellectual conversation. If the only thing you could do is break, don't come here, man. Go back in your stable and dwell in your shit. Yes. For me, I so don't want the PPP in government because they've misbehaved all the years. They've not lifted the people of this country out of poverty. We must start from the position of not wanting the PPP in government. And so the first thing for me is to reject any budget by the PPP. And secondly, move on no confidence motion. And so within a very short time, within a year at most, we should have this nation go back to general and regional elections. But this time, if you don't pass a budget for the PPP, then they got to push their hand in their own pocket. They got to push their hands in their own pockets. I mean, every other political party will have to push their hands in their own pocket. I know it is going to put the APNU under tremendous stress and strain. I know it will put the APNU under tremendous stress and strain if every political party has to go back to the election quickly in their own pockets, by pushing their hand in their own pockets, because the APNU was pushing its hands in its own pocket for these elections, unlike the PPP that was misusing state resources. Right? I see somebody cross up here, Anthony Small. I know it's who Anthony Small cussing up, but the only person who get right for cussing this program is me, Anthony. I'm going to just delete the comment for now. But don't do it again. Especially if you think a clarity side, know for a fact it's not me you cussing. Right? Don't do it again. Okay? Good. So yes, I am saying that is my mission. That is how I would see it. That is what I think is needed next. Some people say, but where the money going to come from if you pass no budget and you move this no confidence motion? Then the parliament will have to move a special motion of some sort. The likes of Jordan and so on could tell me how this works. But a budget would be passed just the spending of GECOM for the next election. I don't know if there can be a raft of legislations that would reform GECOM there and then. And so fix the system and send Guyanese back to the vote. And whatever the results of the vote, so be it. Because here what happened? Then Guyanese don't really get to decide in their heads. Because they have seen, they had a prologue perhaps of what the results of their vote will be. If they were to vote the same way they voted in this election, yesterday's election, then they know what the results are likely to be. And let me see that Guyanese won that by sending them back to the polls. Let me see that Guyanese won that. And if this is what they choose, then this is what they choose. So that's my outlook. This nation should not allow the PPP to go back into government, even as a minority. Every effort should be made to remove them, even if we have to go back to an election that is better organized. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but that's my position. Guyana could do better than the PPP. Now is 28 minutes to 8 o'clock. Let me deal with the win factor, because I see a lot of people are saying win, win, win. Lyndon voted for win. Some people even call me and say, Mr. Azam, it look like win can farm the next government. Win can't farm no next government. Win can't farm no next government. Aubrey Austin, you might be disappointed Winston Jordan and Walter Lawrence did not campaign for the APNU. I think Winston Jordan definitely campaigned for the APNU. Winston Jordan has been here saving except for that short period of time when he fell ill and so on and had to, I would say, take sabbatical. Day in, day out, educating the populace. Education is campaign. And if Aubrey Austin is here, and Aubrey has been following these programs and definitely following Jordan and these programs and saying that Jordan did not campaign, then the question is asked, did I campaign? Did David Hines campaign? Did Mark Benchcap and Norman Brown and Rickford Burke campaign? Because I'm going to come to that too. Right? So I can't say much about Volley. I haven't seen her around much, but Vincent Jordan definitely was campaigning. Might be more subtle than my brazenness, but definitely was campaigning. So don't say that. Lyndon Felix is raising an important and interesting point here, but we'll talk about that. So I was saying, let's look at the win factor, because people are saying, I see somebody just said win one Agatash. Right? Once I was finished with my elections work yesterday, well, early this morning, I went straight to bed. I told people I ain't looking at numbers. I ain't even discussing elections because I need a rest. But of course, I'm usually committed to this program. I know people are looking forward to hear my thoughts on the elections. And so that is why I'm here this morning. If a man that has been accused of all kinds of wickedness in this country can form a political party and jostle the two main political parties for space, and in some areas successfully so, it says that this country is morally bankrupt. They are no moral. Democracy is for sale again. Democracy is for sale again. And so who got money got bargain. And so for me, the fact that Win can be reported as winning Agatash, Win can be reported as getting major votes in Linden, Win can be reported as getting major votes in Linden, Win can be reported as getting votes around the country. I know, I think I saw one polling station in Buxton, was it Buxton? Bladenall. The thing is so corrupted now, you don't even know who voting where. I'll be honest with you. A polling station that was at Bladenall, we got 50 votes. Right? But for a citizen, an individual, a person who's accused of all kinds of misdoings, let me call them that, to be able to form a political movement, political party, whatever he calls it, or whatever we call it, in 4 or 6 months, and attract votes, the likes of what people are talking about in Linden and Agatash, winning areas and so on. It says we have a sick society. We have a very sick society. There is no morality anymore. People don't care how wrong you're wrong, how deviant you're deviant. So long as you have filthy lucre, they're good. So long as you got something to give them, quote unquote, free, they're good. And that's not a good society to live in. That's not a good society to socialize your children in. And so if we are talking about winning, somebody even suggested win might form the next government. We got serious times ahead of us. Because we will have a society that, for want of a better description, is doggy dog. Doggy dog. And that is frightening for me. When a deviant or an alleged deviant in a society could buy enough people to even contemplate winning the government, it says that we are in shit shape. Because if that is the trend, next election it might be whatever his name, the banner Tony Bash. Well, the banner Bash say they buying gold and smuggling gold through Venezuela and so on and so forth. What name? The competitor to Azudin, Mohammed. And next 5 years, the man might decide they're going to spend money and win government too. Or even the Ahmads might decide they're going to spend money and win government too. And when you have quote-unquote cartels competing for your vote, then you're going to end up with, I'll find the right word here, enclaves. I can say enclaves. But like perhaps in Trinidad, you're going to end up with boroughs. I can call it boroughs. What they call them in Jamaica? Where they got all these dons. Y'all help me there. You're going to find yourself in a society partitioned and controlled by dons. If you want to allow your electoral process to be hijacked by cartels. So I don't know about all of them. Well, Little John is who you're talking to, but it's me telling. It shows that they're thinking. Well, I can take that as a compliment or as an or as an insult, because I would think that I've always been thinking. That is why I'm sitting here doing this program for the last 5 years or so, and people listening to me. And as far as I see the viewership going, right. So thank you. If it's if you intended it as a compliment, well, it can be interpreted as an insult for you to even come here listening to me and thinking that I don't think. Garrison, Akwesi, good morning. Blessings, my brother. At least where we were living, Garrisons. So there are so many lessons. So many lessons. I mean, people might say there's just an election yesterday that had low voter turnout. For me, these are the lessons coming out of that election that had low voter turnout. And let me say to my fellow candidates and so on in the APNU, I don't want y'all knock me on my head because I say, looking at the low voter turnout, the possibility is the PPP might still be in office. I am looking forward to us beating the PPP out of office. But I usually tell people my politics is different from my teachings. If I can actually say my politics is different from my teachings. When I'm teaching, I teach in a comprehensive way so people see all angles of the picture. So y'all don't go say, no, God, we didn't even look at the numbers yet, Mr. Amsterdam. God telling people what it likely, oh, we going to dispute this thing if we got a dispute? Y'all don't come to me like that. Understand that I am sitting here, if you want to call me as an analyst, I am looking at all the angles so that my viewers, our people, get an education as what we are dealing with. And so whether which way the results are declared, they understand the thinking behind it, how we perhaps need to move forward, what are the implications, and how to react, if you can call it that. Right? You know, that somebody told Jackson is mentioning that Doggy said when win the election and for the first time he's going to parliament and so on. You know, one of the things that really opened my eyes in this election campaign and show gullible our citizens are. And I mean, Amanza Walton did here declared or commented that the people who follow the PPP are intellectually lazy. When a candidate on the PPP slate can stand on stage and say that if wins the election, the education minister is going to be fatter. And the finance minister is going to be doggy. And all those people standing in front of that idiot believe it and went and ran with it on social media. Y'all don't believe me? Check social media. You will see PPP supporters talking about what we could even consider Fatah as education minister and Dagi as finance minister. And some of those who were on the opposition side who said it bright, allow their name to be used in such ignorance. In the name of campaigning, in the name of winning an election. Well, that is sickening, and it tells where our society is educationally, and that shows the damage that has been done to our citizens with this no child left behind thing. You know? So this society is in a serious state of disrepair. For one set of people to believe that piffle from one who aspires to lead the citizens of this country. And another set to accept that one who has been accused of all kinds of crimes can dare to lead the country. Well, we're in serious shambles, man. We're in a terrible situation. And so when WPA says, you know, anytime it gets its hand on government, the first thing it will do is declare a state of emergency in education. I think we need it. Regardless of who in government, we need to declare a state of emergency in education. Are we people smart? We ain't bright at all. The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to go. Colin, let me talk about your takeaways from this election. I've had my say. Somebody asked me to read a comment by somebody. I think I saw it just now. Read what Sheva McCalvin. Sheva McCalvin. Call on, good morning.
Morning, listeners. You know, there are consequences to your voting, and I hope people are prepared to deal with the consequences. I always say a thing, an uneducated voter is the most dangerous voter. I always say that, and I said a thing to people, and people say it's not democratic, but it's fine. But I'm going to explain it here this morning, and I said it on this show before. Before people are allowed to be to vote, this is my thing, just my thing. Before people are allowed to vote, they should sit a voters' education exam, and if they don't pass, they cannot vote. You know, I wish I had the powers to do such a thing, because it goes back to what I just said and what you said in your closing. The uneducated voter is the most dangerous voter. They will make things in any place go haywire, and they will not even recognize the wrongs that they have done. So people, voting has consequences. Wish you all the best.
Thank you for your call. Yeah, Shavan McCalman says if Guyana does not choose APNU, the EU and the USA will use the leaders' weaknesses, criminality, greed, stupidity, and inexperience to continue to rob Guyana of its resources. And China will continue to buy out Guyana. The people will just get morsels thrown at them while they remain in poverty in oil-rich Guyana. I totally agree with this comment. Because I personally believe one of the things that the US in particular has been using to take out it once some Guyana is the criminality of the PPP. By Jack Dion, the likes of Ali and Nanulal, and all of those who are supposedly on some sanction list that the USA has, most likely are willing to and have been using the resources of this country as a bargaining chip to stay out of jail. This jail get out of jail card. Just as how many of us are arguing that as you didn't stay out of jail card is to try to get into the government of this country. Because when he is in government, if he ever gets into government of this country again, he is going to do just what the PPP is doing. So I guess he learned from his friends. Use the resources of this country to bargain with the US and the ABC countries to keep yourself out of jail because of your alleged misbehaviors. And some Guyanese citizens can't see that and vote against it just to that, then too bad. Too late shall be the ball. Not even cry ball, because we can ball, we ball out. We can ball, we ball out. Because I'm going to continue pumping, gold going to continue smuggling or extracting. Diamonds, you know, a lot of us talk about gold smuggling. What about diamond smuggling? What about those rare earth minerals that are leaving the shores of this country every single day? And we are not hearing anything about the value of those things that are leaving our country. Why we have a government that is willing to sit back and allow the Chinese, for example, to move the minerals from the pit directly to the ship? I guess they say that they do that in the name of efficiency. They do that in the name of robbing our nation, because then nobody gets to examine what is in that which is being sent on the conveyor belt to the ship. you know, because I said before, the only person who allowed to come and cuss on this program is me. I'm going to block Mazel Ali because I gave warning before. And if Mazel bold enough to come and cuss and so on, and tell people about shut so and so up and so, I'm going to shut you up. Just good riddance, man. Yeah, it's, you know. I know some of y'all be some early morning crass for come and taint people good spirit. Right? So yeah, I agree totally. Because since Azredin is apparently no better than the Jagnews and the Alis and the natural resource thief and agricultural thief and housing thief and all of them, we just exchanging. And the US is going to ring him too, as they ring this country dry. So I totally agree with Ms. McCalman. But they don't mind the PPPs, bigwigs, and the Mohammeds, let me call it for that. Because winning government or winning parliament is the Mohammeds in government or the Mohammeds in parliament. Boys of a fellow flock together. They don't mind using this nation's resources as bargaining chips with ABCE countries as long as they get to do what they desire to do. In the instance of the PPP, they want to rape people, girl, children. They want to build mansions left, right, and center. They got an obsession with hotels and shiny buildings and shiny cars. And so long as they could do that and go to Dubai and prostitute and so on and so forth, as long as they could do that, because they have access to the nation's resources, they're good with that. They don't mind playing along with the US. And even the Chinese, because maybe they can get to launder their money to the Chinese and so on. They don't mind. But it is us, the citizens, who playing with dunce. And we ain't got brain, who at the end of the day will feel the squeeze, because the cost of living, we out of control. I'll pumping, you feeling it, etc., etc. Call your life. Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, and thank you for your work yesterday. Good morning to all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. This morning, me calling name, the election done. Yesterday, you mentioned something on Mark program when I'm calling for some information, and your touch was two of them, and you touch one of them brains. And when you touch one of them brains, his face got fat and swell because he know that corn was for him. If Jagdio go back there, I'm not blaming Mohammed. Oh no, Mohammed is calling like Jagdio. Calling represent calling upon Jagdio word. I'm blaming Nigel Hughes, Nigel London, Simona Brooms, and Amanda. Why Flash Garden? Why? Because when ERC bring out that nonsense for sign, who signed with Jagdio? Mohammed. Come on again, Flash. Who more? Ramzatan, Collate, Hapanjat, Vincent Adams, allow, we have the time to go and sign. Why? If you want better for black people in Guyana, it's not because you retire and you're living lovely. You don't care what other black people, children in Guyana. I don't care what damn you could come for Flash Garden. Me don't live my life already. Those names, God in sit well with those names. Because God says suffer the children not to. And when you encourage black people to vote for you and don't come together with one, what you expect to get? When you plant pine, you will receive pine. And pine skin is a rough thing. This morning, I'm going to talk. If it was shameful, don't look at the heart. Look at the policy. Look at it determined. Why they have to do that? And then they want to say them dragging black people children into pit. Look, them three names I'm going to call to who represent the word of slave. For Mohammed, Dagi, that same Odessa name, and Fatu. Fatu is the one that get the book that when you vote for Mohammed, when you vote for Mohammed, you become a slave. Yes, I've gone talk it. All those who vote for Mohammed and vote for for Dagio, are you demonstrate what the word mean of slave and the word of God? The beast, the mark of the beast, 666, all of them who vote. Even my mother, if she would vote for any one of them, I would have said, Mommy, you become a house slave. Stop it. Repent, turn back. You belong to PNC. You belong to fight for better for all Guyanese, especially black people. Why black people must have to suffer 5 more years? Why this young generation want to live with the word of slave? Why the young generation in here, Jadjo call our black sister in parliament low life twice? They know all of that, they see all of that. And yet still, some of them say, why? And then tomorrow you will say, oh, the opposition leader. The opposition leader. Look one more thing before we go, my friend. I see the father and the mother for our little baby girl who they died, and he got a note to come out and said, vote for the win. Oh God, Abinati is the first one go out and comfort you. Give it that support. Black people go out and fight for you. Some of them get locked up today, and you sleeping on bed and eating 3 square meal, and you will come out and tell, you will represent that Cody boy. Because he gave it's alleged, he gave $5,000 or $6,000 for go to America. Is that what your daughter worth? Is that what black people who stand up with you and fight for you want? Shame and disgrace, my couple black brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for your call. Yes, I know what Flash is talking about, because when Mark called me last night, and I had a brief with him, the last thing I said, let me pelt a brick back. Let me pelt a big brick at one eye, story done. It is a pity. It is a pity that a lot of the people who came out in the 11th hour to say support the APNU and Aubrey Norton didn't do that from the first second. Because it should have been clear to them from the inception, is the only choice you have. Is the only option you have to remove the PPP from power. And like I keep saying, if it's a flag dress up, embrace your flag until you could do better. But the goal, the aim, the journey was to get the PPP out of office. And so all of them who wait until the 11th hour, when it seemed to them as though they had no alternative, really. They will get an opportunity to sit back and see, because of our egos, we failed to unite our people behind the one cause. Because of our egos, we can't move this country forward at the rate we think it should be moved forward. Because, again, let me explain this particular comment. Even if when the declarations are made, APNU is in power, like I would love to see, we would be a minority government. And I no question about that. Anybody gets declared the winner going to be a minority government. And just as I'm scheming to don't pass any budget for the PPP and move a no confidence motion against them, the PPP is scheming. We have seen them do it in the past, even with a budget. Right? These people get the opportunity to sit back and examine how they contributed to this situation that the nation is in. And really examine it. They say hindsight is 20/20 vision, but the damage is already done, you know. The damage is already done. And so did you hop on the bandwagon in the 11th hour to say, why this thing looked like APNU got it, and so if they got it, I don't want to be left out in the cold. Let me do just enough to say I did enough. Or like the old lady say, let me just walk with them to the tape to watch them fail. What really were the intentions in these last minutes endorsements? And if we were to do this all over again, will your positions be the same? Listen, like I said, I had the opportunity to see a tidbit here, a tidbit there in terms of results. I don't see forward Guyana for the 2, 3, or 4 results that I saw them featured in. I don't see them outperforming, not even themselves. When I say not even themselves, I don't see forward Guyana outperforming ALP. What's the other one? ALP is Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity. You know, there's Booms. I don't see Booms outperforming Forward Movement, which is a Manza. Who else they about there by? You know, I lose track of them. 6 of them, 6 parties. What is one name? Darwin Best. Where Darwin Best there? Anyhow, all of them, especially through that people consider the major splits of the opposition, which is Booms and Walton this year. I don't see them outperform themselves because they attracted votes between 1 and 0. And they definitely didn't outperform the grouping that they came from. So while they didn't contribute to the strength of the opposition, they definitely diminished the strength of the opposition. Because all of the negatives, all of the negative energies that they had to put out there when they decide that they're going to split, definitely cause people in general, all citizens in this society, to see local politics differently, and that too might have very well contributed to the low vote autonomy. Because people saying if this gonna be so nasty, excuse me, and if this gonna be so divisive, I don't want any part in it. So yeah, all you have to sit back and ask yourself, what your contributions to moving this country forward, moving forward in Guyana? What your contributions to forward in Guyana has been? Oh, I forgot the AFC. A political party that, if it had agreed to humble itself, as I would say, and coalesce with more favorable terms with the APNU, would have been guaranteed a seat at the table. But one which wanted the whole pie apparently will end up with nothing but crumb. Greedy dog does lose the bone. These are things to consider. It is 9 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. I woke up thinking, regardless of how the elections go, we have a country to build. We have a country to save from the no child left behind and the criminality is okay mentality. And so I chose national songs because, at least for some of us, they meant something and they still do mean something.
Born in the land of the mighty Roraima, land of red rivers and far-stretching sea. So like the mountain, the sea, and the river, great, wide, and deep in our land would we be. Onward, upward, may we ever go. Day by day, in strength and beauty grow. Till at length each of us will show what Guyana's love and notice can be. Born in the land of nature's shining splendor, land of the palm trees of rotten and fir, we would possess all the virtues and graces, we all the glory of goodness will learn. Onward, upward, may we ever go, day by day, in strength and beauty grow, till at length each of us may show what Guyana's sons and daughters can be. Born in the land where it's salt and Dorado, land of the flame and the bright shining gold, we would be loved by a great love and live, hearts full and city which never grows old. Onward, upward, may we ever go, day by day, in strength and beauty grow, till at length each of us may show what Guyana's sons and daughters can be.
My Guyana, Eldorado, best of all the world to me. In my heart, wherever I wander, memories enshrine and be. All my hopes and
Aspirations.
all my longings most aside. Everlasting bonds surround us as the fleeting years roll by.
My Guyana time's unfolding, more and more my destiny to reach plans is splendor that the years have brought to me. All the ashes of the glory, oh, the long night has passed. Oh, rise, triumphant, glorious, from the ashes of the past. Oh, rise, triumphant, glorious, from the ashes of the past.
Good morning, Patriotic. Good morning. I'm watching the program. I'm very disappointed watching the program is what I feel, but I still waiting on our results and we hope for the best. But at disappointed we people need to be united together and we need to be forward. And I don't know what wrong people that understand that APNU for the stand chance to knock out the people. I explained it to all my family and friends. But everybody got a choice. Everybody have a choice. If people is still there, I don't know what on. We people need to be forward. And I think if the other national source is still here, like true born of time to this day, I think we people would be more forward. They would say things for themselves because they would get people on free, they would get this free, they would get things to help themselves. But when they come into school, they try to get them kind of. And to me, majority of the time is around. They make them try to change the sources of them to do something for them, to help them, take them out of poverty, which have been our wouldn't do on the test. But I don't know around. You people need to be forward, need to love yourself more, and we need to listen to elderly. Take advice from them because they have experience in politics or whatsoever. But we need to love ourselves. And the love that God in our heart, by the time we see a little money, they get too much love in the heart. It's not the most of the old people, but another force. Especially if you put in a little money in front of them. It's like a buying a seal thing. You see, we sell as a buying a seal, like a slave. We could buy you, push you, or we could push you for change. All we want. We people don't love us. They want change, but we people is not getting knowledge to understand that if you hold your with more chance to knock out it. Now the vote them the split. They get a minority. Oh. We need to get rid of it. And to me, there's more to be done. There's more to be done. And we hope the best everything is and it turn out to be.
Good morning, the Congress Public. I personally glad in this election where the minority majority. I heard been gambling decision, and I don't know if it's true, but if it is so, I have to look into it, my brother. Sorry for them. The people of region can will ungrateful though. Anyhow, at the same time, it's still can't blame the people. And by extension, African Guyanese, because David Grange is the cause of all this. If David Grange do what he had to do as a man, if he people them, to the empower solid, but because they fake up, make it see these people then turn out and vote, and those who switch because of the same reason. Anyhow, we still good luck to Abinat and the rest of balance that come though. Big up to you guys out there.
You know, this comment might come across as unkind, but this is the kind of rhetoric that makes it difficult for us. Very, very difficult. We don't seem to understand that we have to take personal responsibility for our choices. Unless we pass the buck to somebody, we are human, you know. Unless we pass the buck to somebody, we are right, you know. I hear win region 10. If there's a case, yeah, look into him. Did I hear that? Huh? Did I hear that? You are looking to him. How you looking, brother? I know this is a brother that's called and tell us he is a millionaire as a young person and all of that. But how you looking, boss? And there's a problem in this country. When, I don't know if it's because we lack education or selfishness or something, we continue to remove ourselves from the equation and make somebody else the subject of the equation. When all of us, each and every one of us, represent a component of the equation. When I was teaching quadratic equations, I think the formula is A plus B minus C equal 0. Forgive me if I don't remember that. I haven't taught mathematics in such a long time. Or A plus B, AX plus BX minus C. I think it's so. AX plus BX minus C equals 0. There's no quadratic equation unless we got AX, BX, and minus C, plus or minus C. So we continue to remove ourselves from this equation, believing that there's an equation, or that the equation can be solved. That's the thing. It's always y'all. The other day it hurt me so much that I cuss. I don't tell y'all to cuss and y'all hear a cuss, so I ain't got nothing to hide there. I cuss on a voice note, and I told the person, it's not you cussing. What is this attitude that continues to say, it was when they had the accident transporting the military votes, the joint services vote. I got a voice note. This person always messaging me. I hear the PPP plan for do this. What y'all gonna do about it? Where y'all gonna? The accident. You see, I didn't worry all the time. The accident was no accident. The accident was orchestrated and thing. If y'all know where y'all gonna feel, all of us gonna feel. If you have information and you have knowledge about what will affect the outcome of the elections, and you can help to contribute to a plan toward that, then do that. But stop asking people what y'all. If win-win region thin, y'all looking thin. We all looking thin. Some of us look thinner than others. Right. I met an old friend last evening. In one of the polling stations and said, it's a way to represent in there. Win, I said, you're one of them win people though? No, who are you working for? I win, you're one of them win people though? Stop. You notice the question you asked me? Who was I working for? I was doing a job. I was providing a service. But that individual didn't check in his or her mind that if I provide the same service, if I utilize the same time and provide the same service for the APNU, I would have been lending them strength. I'm going to get them a vote. I get them a vote, but that's all they could get out of me. Right? I can get them a vote. Me family, I always vote in APNU. I can get them a vote. But my labor, I can get win. Win needs your labor to compete against the APNU. So you're working against the grain anyhow. What critical thinking, we ain't got it. Or some people. I look for another voice note. And mind you, I'm not attacking the voice note. I'm attacking the thinking. All right, it didn't look like we have more. Right? It's 26 past 8 o'clock hour. The lines remain open. Like some of you are so dejected without even knowing the results that you all in one call. What happened? Let me hear the regulars now. I can't let me talk. Voice note.
Good morning to all CAMS TV and viewers and listeners. This is my take on this election. I would not be blaming Granger. Granger time is over. When Aubrey Norton assumed office as opposition leader, he laid down a structure, an order, and it was not followed by 80% of the parliamentarians. They are supposed to be with the grassroots in their community and make a law and get back to parliament with him, with committee meetings. It was not done. So here we are. Let's not blame Granger. Number two, as I said before, Region 6 was not, no attention was paid to Region 6. New Amsterdam is not quarantined. I remember in 70-something for the referendum, Barnum made 4 stops in quarantine one day. He campaigned Evesham, I think was Firish, 53 and Skellon, one day. And this is where we are because of lack of paying attention to your electorate. And no one is talking about generation X, Y, and Z. They care less. They want what they want now. They don't want to hear promises. You have to, it's a different generation. So it's something to be learned. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Collate Live, good morning.
Morning, good afternoon. Morning to the public. Good morning to the school public. So as you guys know, etc. You know, I want to say something about this program. The bulk of the
Hello, good morning. Hello? Yeah, good morning to you, Brother Tagati. Um, I must say, congratulations to the Guyanese on the conducting the polls in a free manner, free and peaceful manner. From looking at the polling stations, I would have already determined when I went out to vote and then came back and then looking at the coverage, I had already determined that the turnout would have been very, very low. Very, very low. And it is also a sign, another indication that crowds is not votes. And we need to be, I think this is the last time people need to be fooled by crowds. People just go to those rallies as a form of fete and activity. Some people just like to be out there and so forth, but that not really is it. And also for both sides, they need to stop this thing of fetching a wrong crowd. If you keep in a rally in Buxton or East Coast, you need to see Buxton and East Coast people. This attitude we have of crying people around the place, it gives you a false sense of hope. Because when you keep a rally in the area, if you have people or you don't have people, you will know who for you and who's not for you. Now, it is very sad. It is very sad that the APNU party, in my mind, in my estimation, has been devastating at these elections. But for me, it is not surprising because the parliamentarians that we had, the opposition parliamentarians, we have been crying on this program and at other forums. They were not listening to their supporters. They were not listening. They were in their own cocoon. And I think they have been devastated for two reasons. The first reason, I think, because Norton and others shut down protests. I think because of the fact that they shut down protests, the only weapon that people have to combat, they sit there and allow a set of things to happen to the African people. They watch the tragedy of Hijacking with no big representation, no confronting representation. They just Vincent Azan alone and some other people just they crying and talking. But we didn't see the parliamentarians come out and vigorously attack this grave injustice. Then we saw the teachers out there. Again, they didn't come out with it. They keep saying that the strike is they didn't want to come because they said the government telling them that the strike is political. Strike is political. Strike is a political thing. But you people out there battling, you have to come out there and fight with the people. This thing of sitting behind the scenes and keeping a once a week press conference and talking is not working. And I think that angered the people. That angered the people. People keep saying the only weapon you get. Desmond Knight was a little bit soft. Desmond Knight became tough and famous because Desmond Knight confronted the PP with protests around the 96, 97 time. Protest is what made Desmond Knight famous before we pass away. People need, the PNC is a party that was built and was a party that was what became known as a party to confront the PPP. Now, and to become docile in parliament. They that Mansour Nadir doing them all kind of things in the parliament, and they didn't do nothing, just come out and want to crying, talking. The second reason I think is the fact that they failed to come up with this coalition politics. I think that angered the people as well. Everybody fighting for be leader. Every one of them want to be leader. A man's a gun, so Simone Bruce come out and gone, so them spreading around the place like wildfire. Nobody wanted to be in one camp. All of them wanted to be. Since something happened, teeth and thunders bite, family just quarrel. Because you and your family quarrel and move out of the house. because your children and your husband and wife, that problem you don't move out. This it attitude that the people that big problems, them does have big problems. But you don't see them spreading around the place or running wild, like talking and crying and complaining upon one another and making newscasts and things. And the people using that same weapon again. So I believe that anger the people stay with. So what do you use to send them back in parliament? What do you use to make them opposition leader? Because they're not using the power that you give them to do in this. So I think that is the reason they fail to represent by aggressively tackling the people with protests and other things. And the way they fail to come up with this coalition parties, I think that has devastated them. Thank you.
Thank you for that, caller. Morning, are you morning? How are you doing? How was I yesterday? I gave you an opportunity to listen to my yesterday's discourse of these election things. And the lines are currently home, so you can share your opinions, because I will definitely be sharing mine. It's a new season, it's a new era. The structure of Guyanese morning time, Buxtonian morning time is going to change gradually. We're going to continue along this line until the elections are really announced and settled. And then the timing for the program is likely to change. And to a large extent, the content of the program is likely to change. And to a large extent, as I change the content of the program, what people are allowed to call in and say will definitely change. So Flash Garden, a time might be coming when you can't call and say them coolie people. You have to be more respectful. I say Indo-Guyanese brothers and sisters, as much as you see Afro-Guyanese brothers and sisters. I just tell you what I am envisaging. We will also migrate from this platform. We are not going to be using CAMS TV anymore. We're going to create a new platform, because let me tell you, a lot of people don't understand the sacrifices that people make to make things happen. I tell you every day, I don't generally come here with a script to deliver to you. I come here with ideas, and as the program evolves, those ideas get delivered. So I want to just sacrifice. People don't understand the sacrifices others make for the community good. And when I say the community good, I'm talking about the national good, the national interest, ethnic interests, interest groups, interests, and so on. People don't understand that. For more than 2 or 3 years now, I've been doing this program on CAMS TV. No, let me go back. CAMS TV is about 5 years old, because it came out of the 2020 election fracas, madness, craziness, brouhaha, and so on. So CAMS TV is about 5 years old. But as CAMS TV grew popular, people are always watching you. It became a page that could be monetized through Facebook. And as it became a monetizable page, it got hijacked. At one point, I was removed from accessing it. I couldn't access it. Then it was returned to me. I had access to it. I could have created content, giving people permissions and so on. Then at some other point, all of those privileges, if I can call it that, were removed. I could only create content. I can't add anybody to CAMS TV to be moderator or any editor or content creator or anything. I became an employee, basically, of somebody who hijacked this page and is definitely earning from it because they have monetized it. I try all manner of things and I can't get this page back. I can't get back control of this page, at least up until now. If any of you know, I think I said this years ago too. If any of you know how to get back this page, you could do it. or you can help me work through it so I can get it back. But I stuck with it. I stuck with it because I looked at the greater good. It is the place where our people have been congregating for information and discourses. This is like we baobab tree. This is like we park tree in the community. Where the ancestors used to go under the cork tree, the big tree, and sit down and talk matters over and make resolutions and make decisions and so on. Camp Steve has become like our cork tree. And I recognize it for that. Even if the big cork tree in our community got, what we just call them, blight, people won't cut it down because they understand that it provides shelter, it provides a meeting place and so on. They're going to try to deal with the blight. And so for a year, not a year, about 2 years at least, I've been putting money in people's pocket. Not that any has been coming back to me from them, but somebody has been earning from my content on Camps TV. But I bite my lip. I bear my strain because, again, I'm saying this is where I recognize our people are congregating for the kind of information that should help them to make proper decisions. I ain't complaining to a soul. I get harassed by the police. I get locked up to now. I got a court case that is supposed to come up, I think, sometime in October. I think they deliberately put it for after the elections. By then, the PPP going to know the strength, and they're going to know if they're going to jail me, or they're going to set me free, or they're going to corrupt the system to penalize. And I'm saying that I know that the PPP has taken control of the judiciary in this country. Nobody can tell me otherwise. And so there's nothing that I will be surprised of when I go to court. I've still my mind to deal with whatever the outcome. I believe we have made our case. I have not been guilty of what I was accused of, but it's a corrupt court system we're dealing with. The PPP put the acting chief justice, a very junior judge compared to others, in place to be their blocker. I ain't got no apologies to saying that. I predicted, if you all remember, Amanzo Walton Desir must have had a good, or might have had a good case about the exclusion of their party from the ballot for general elections. But I also said, while I think she might have a good case, she's not likely to win it. It is likely to be thrown out because of who the judge is. I know, Obi man, I'm just a rational thinker. I saw the magistrate that I think jailed or penalized, what's his name? What they call you again? Nobody would have sing the song but Latch Me, whoever his name. Anyway, whatever his name. The PPP had a falling out with acting chief magistrate, whatever her name, I can't remember right now. Y'all don't worry me on the names. Y'all know the positions. She's on leave, apparently. And this lady, who from where I sit, I see an activist to Indo-Guyanese domination, has now replaced the magistrate, acting chief magistrate. Despite being junior to many too. I think my case is with her. So I ain't surprising or nothing. Why am I saying this to you? I am saying to you that I've been making sacrifices. There are a lot of people will be making sacrifices without complaining because they recognize the importance of those sacrifices if we are going to fix this nation. But the wider populace, at least if I judge from many who call here and send voice notes here and contribute to the program here, A lot of you seem not to understand the importance of sacrifice, and you're not prepared to sacrifice any darn thing. But instead, you want to hold every mistake, every misgiving, every grudge you want to hold against the people who, when you look at it, 2020 vision is perfect. Hindsight is 2020 vision. When you look at it, it is the people who are standing behind you, between you being brutalized and being dead. A S word come to my mind, but I use it, thank God. Here is our first scholar talking about why the APNU was rejected. Because the previous parliamentarians, and not I am saying previous, maybe he doesn't recognize them as previous. As we speak, there are no parliamentarians. From the time Parliament was dissolved for this election, there are no parliamentarians. And I've said it before, check the list of parliamentarians that were there in the previous Parliament and compare the list of the candidates that the APNU has put forward for these elections. See how many of those previous parliamentarians are on the APNU's list. And so you're punishing a man named Harvey Norton, or you think you're punishing a man named Harvey Norton for the scrubs of a set of people who are no longer associated with Harvey Norton. In some instances, they are no longer associated with the party of Harvey Norton. You punish the PPP for all those parliamentarians who were Grangerites, if I call them that, and I know with the PPP. They screw up. You punish the PPP for them. You punish Win for those parliamentarians who were Grangerites, and I know with Win. You punish them, but you're punishing in your mind the APNU led by Harvey Norton for these parliamentarians. Make it make sense. You know what you have done? All those of you who tell yourself you voted against the APNU because of what those previous parliamentarians did. You penalize people who have offered themselves to work for you. I've been here working for you for 5 years plus. I'm on that APNU list. If you voted against the list, you voted against my efforts in the last 5 years. Are you saying I didn't make an effort? David Hines is on the list. You saying he didn't make an effort? Takumo Gonzalez on the list. He didn't make an effort. He didn't stand in defense of black people. He's not before the courts for some terrorism charge because he said this abuse of the services must stop. If they only turn the guns in the right direction, this abuse of Guyanese will stop. Dr. Dexter Todd, Dr. Paul Williams, Ron Daniels, Saiku, you're saying all of these people who are now on the APNU list as candidates wrong you? You're saying they failed you? You failed yourself because of your mentality. You fail yourself because of your mentality. You can't let go. And it's not that you can't let go and move on. You can't give your brother a pass, even if let me call it that. You're easier to give a stranger, your oppressor, your abuser, a pass than you are to give somebody who is likely to stand in your defense, even if they screw up previously. People reject Harvey Norton because he didn't protest. Harvey Norton's, at least there's the understanding I get. Y'all could judge it for what it is. Harvey Norton's refusal to put black people, especially on the streets of Guyana, to protest, came from a position of love and responsibility and respect for black lives. I don't know if he has said it in those clear terms, but I've heard it in those clear terms. I am not going to put people on the streets to protest because the PPP has already instructed the police and the armed forces to kill them. I am not going to take people to the streets to protest for them to be murdered. Even if it means that is what will make me victorious and make me, according to some of y'all, electable, I am not going to put people's lives at risk like that because I know we got a murderous government. If that is not a decision of love and taking responsibility to protect the people that you're relying on and showing respect for people's lives, I don't know what that is. I personally, as an individual, might not agree. I might say, well, let me go. Let the world see that the PPP are killers. But I respect Aubrey Norton for his position that he's not going to put anybody's children's lives at risk because he wants political power. They sit in parliament and they allow the speaker to do everything. They couldn't stop it. How should they have stopped him? You're saying somebody should have walked into the parliament, and this is hypothetical, please and thank you, so y'all don't charge me for inciting violence. Should somebody have walked into the parliament and beat the speaker to death? Pick up the mace and lash it till he became unconscious, like critics beat up by a max? How do you stop a speaker? If you are a minority in a parliament, and the majority stands with the speaker, and the speaker stands with the majority, how do you stop it? Oh, y'all gonna stop it by protesting. But we just say that if you put people in the streets, it was expected that the PPP gonna murder them. Take Linden as an example. It's not happening on put them on the streets of Linden to protest the murder of the youth man by the policeman. By the end of 72 hours, there were 2 others who were murdered for simply protesting the death of that young man. Does that justify Aubrey Norton's position? The PPP is a murderous government and I ain't going to risk people's life? I am saying to all of you, I'm saying to all of us, GECOM says they will not release they will not make any declaration until all of the statement of polls are in and all of the tabulation is completed. As far as I know, the APNU is still crunching numbers. At least they were doing that up to last night. So I'm not speaking from a position of being certain of what the results are. But word on the street is the PPP has won the election. The Blue Party has become the new opposition in Parliament. And APNU is the third party in Parliament. Even if I were to assume that that is accurate, even if I am assuming that that is accurate, I want all of you to analyze your decisions based on that hypothetical situation. Who did you penalize? Who you put for punish? You think I've been going to punish? You really think I've been going to punish? You think the police going to brutalize Arbinani? You think I can put myself in a position for the police brutalize me? Brothers and sisters, let me say this to you. I have offered my services to you, and if the APNU has lost the election, you rejected it. And so I'm not obligated to put myself to blows for you anymore. I have a family to look out for. I got my own health to look out for. I got the ripe old age to look out for because I have planted seeds which, by God's grace, guarantee me all of that. Y'all called me arrogant this morning, but I am addressing the situation as I think it needs to be addressed. I believe that politicians and political leaders and political activists and community activists and cultural activists and everything, need to have a very frank, no holds barred discussion with the Guyanese people so they understand, like Jagdio say, they are considered to be some really, really stupid people. And it would appear as though most of them in African Guyanese community. It appears as though most of them in African Guyanese community. Because it would appear as though, y'all tell me by God grace, what did they vote for? What did they vote for? I am putting it to you that Azrin and Mohammed and the Win Party in opposition would be worse off in terms of representing the people than the APNU has been in opposition. Assuming these declarations that they're pelting all over the place. If I assume them to be accurate, the PPP now has a 7-seat majority in parliament. If they're wreaking havoc and muzzling the opposition through the speaker and so on, with a 1-seat or 2-seat majority in the last parliament, what they're going to do with 7? Oh, y'all expect Azrin Mohammed and the Win Party in Parliament will take the Mohammed's resources to fix our problems in Linden or anywhere around this country where I vote for them? I will wait to see that. And I will also wait to see your disappointments. I will wait to see your disappointments. Because it ain't going to happen. They got many other hurdles to climb as we go along the way, in and out of the National Assembly. But it's just one I'm pointing you to. Who speaks for the African Guyanese in the next parliament, assuming these figures that are being pelted around the place are accurate? Who talking for y'all black fools? Who gonna talk for y'all? If, like I suspect, Azrin decides that, hey, I could negotiate with the PPP because I get my get out of jail card, and so I'm going to throw me back in behind the PPP knowing that they're going to keep me out of jail. 15 and 36 is 51. Where is 2/3 of 65? Between the PPP and Win, if these figures are to be treated as accurate, the APNU representatives in Parliament might can open their mouth enough to say they're representing you black fools. Y'all cuss me, tell me arrogant, tell me racist, tell me I like orthodox who call a lot of you bottom lickers and house slaves. As a matter of fact, tell me I like Anil Nandalal, who say you must wear your house slave badge with pride, because that is exactly what some of y'all behaving like. You must wear your house slave badge with pride. And so I just calling you by what you have described yourself as and accepted from Nandalal and accepted by virtue of your behavior. Who gonna represent y'all? Y'all might think that I am full of myself. I am the most arrogant human being on the face of the earth, for what I can tell you all now. Even if the APNU get 40 seats, I expect I will be selected to go to Parliament. because there's an understanding between the WP and the APNU. So I am expecting Hijacking Amsterdam will be selected to go to Parliament. But you know where my thoughts are? And ask people who are close to me. As early as last night, I started discussing it. Should I really go to Parliament? I really don't need to go to Parliament. What can I achieve by going to Parliament where I don't have a voice? Oh, I can highlight the issues, yes. And that's all I'm happy doing, highlighting the issues. Why don't stay out to Parliament and find two little boys who want to know for plant a farm and teach them what I know? Or read a book and teach them how to read? Because going into a Parliament that is dominated by, in this instance, Indo-Guyanese representatives, a Parliament that naturally will muzzle the few Afro-Guyanese representatives in there, ain't got no win for me. This is how I see it. Because I can go in there and I can shout and I can throw tantrums because everybody know Kidaki is not bad. When Kidaki can't get away, Kidaki don't kick. Kidaki will kick down the table. But I can do all of that. And at the end of 5 years, callers like the first one will say, the APNU representatives were in there and they failed to represent the people. Not acknowledging, not recognizing, not accepting the fact that the equation is already skewed against such representation. The storks said they wanted a king that did not, the frogs said they wanted a king that did not look like them. And they got a stork. And their population diminished because the stork was devouring them. That is what your black fools want in this country. All the black fools who celebrating with PPP flag and playing PPP music. Yeah, we win. All the black fools are jumping up. What? We something for the win. After the Parliament is constituted, you are going to celebrate differently. Because then you're going to realize you black fools have no voice. Then you're going to realize you black fools could only do a quick vote once in every 5 years. But you could read a gutter, read a parapet, clean a drain, and pick up garbage every day after that. Then you're going to realize the real house slaves who came to you and sold you dreams that the PPP got you at heart and when could do for you what the APNU has not done for you. Or only pimping you out. They were your pimps and they were making you prostitutes in a society that your ancestors moved millions of tons of earth and went through all kinds of hardships, shedding blood, sweat, and tears to develop. Then you black fools gonna realize that you never know what you had until you lose it. Then you're gonna come to understand that cow not missy tail till mosquito season. Then you're gonna say, what? The APNU screw up, but we've been better off. That is my prediction for you. That is my prediction for Guyana. The PPP is going full throttle. The PPP don't claim they win 35 seats, they win this, they win that, they win the other, they win the next. But in all of this win that they claim they win, they want to recount in Region 4. Because if we capture Region 4, if, according to our house slave, James Bond, if he delivers Region 4 to us, then they ain't got nothing stopping we from walking upon them black man back. But yeah, I can't see though. Yeah, I see $20,000 wrap up in a red t-shirt. Yeah, I see a good shirt behind the Marriott. Yeah, I see an opportunity to cost your mighty black people trying. Who has laid before you a map out of poverty? A man is saying that we in government gonna give you a free house lot. We're gonna give you student support grant. We're gonna give you this, we're gonna give you that. Oh, he too black to be believed. Yeah, I believe the others, and I wish you luck. It's 27 minutes after 8 o'clock. The lines are open. The lines are always open, as a matter of fact. I'm encouraging you to call so we can have these conversations. And hear me, I know quite well that is another sacrifice I'm making to have these conversations, because I guess the year I see writing up another charge sheet. God forbid, but I've already steeled myself that once the election results are declared and PPP is declared a winner, I got many days. Like I said, God forbid, those intercessors who that stand between me and the enemy, y'all continue to stand between me and the enemy, because I expect they got many days they're going to want to run me up these courts. I'll steel myself for that, but that's a sacrifice I prepared to make, so that if that is what will save my people, that is what will save my people. But oh my God, your heart harder than stone. Caller, you're on.
Good morning, Kadaki. Good morning, listeners. Kadaki, they could have said it better, my brother. They could not have said it better. These people think the last 5 years are bad for them. This tsunami that's coming for them, they're going to know what badness is. They're going to know we told them voting for win, right, is a vote for nothing more than strengthening PPP. We tell them, they tell me, oh, you will affect most of the Indian votes. Affect what? I don't care what's happened to our votes. And as you said it, we're going into parliament. Who going to represent we? Them get what? Who they going to represent? And I told people this man was on nothing more than a PR campaign to save his ass. That is what he was on. So you know what? I got my popcorn and my Pepsi here, relaxing, waiting and watching at this movie. Don't call me. My little friend, and you know who, he did some work for you. That youth man said to me, people turned to him and said, that boy, you're scared and what's that? He said, if I be scared, I fail my kids. I fail my kids and my kids' future if I am scared. He said the morning, and I know he went around to a whole heap of old people in the village and make sure, and this is a youth man, make sure that they get the proxies and transport them, etc., etc. So he put on the jersey and the watch in scorn. But I want them for no continue watching him in scorn and others in scorn for this goddamn hurricane and tsunami that come in and hit y'all. This is where y'all bargain for. Deal with it. This is where y'all want. Deal with it. The blue wave, y'all deal with it. Wish them luck. That's all I have to say.
The lines remain open. It's 29 minutes till the 9 o'clock hour. Make use of it. Call you on. Good morning.
Morning, sir. My own? All right. Morning, Kadaki. Morning, Guyana. I have been saying this for some time, is that we are some type of people. And when I make this statement is not just for Guyana. And I look at Africans in Guyana and on the continent and the way we behave. And if we have to look at, let's take South Africa, and I will bring it around to Guyana. In South Africa, we have a leader of the EFF party, Julius Malema, and what he's advocating, which is to take back the lands that were stolen from the Africans by whites. And he doesn't get the majority of Black African support. I would think that that would be something that we would get behind, but not so. Bring it wrong to Guyana, and the same effect that is actually happening, that we would support the African Party to do the things that we want for our future and children future, but yet still we can't bring ourselves to come around to do that. And it just bring it back to me that we are some type of stupid people, that it's right in front of our face and we can't see it. And I'm gonna leave this. We ain't got sense, and that's why we are being sentenced, because we are one side type of stupid people. That's my take.
Thank you for your call. The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. Collate on, good morning.
Morning, sir. Now, there's so much thing to see. Well, anyway, let me start with this. Aubrey Norton did a fabulous job. I would never fault Aubrey for this. Never. He did a fabulous job. Understand me? You see AFC. You see Amanda Walton and all the people who they are already split your vote. You see them people. I don't know how people could be educated and be stupid at the same time. I really can. It didn't. I try to understand it, but those people are the people who mess up, who pull our binary down. Understand me? Those people split your vote, How could we split our votes and win the majority when we leave the minority? The Mona Brooms and all of them. Where are they now? Where man's are there? She messed up she nice career. Who she there now? Stupid people. All them for the concern is house slaves. All of them. Be not, I tell you, that man's a brilliant and a lovely man. I don't know. I really don't know. Mr. Kadaki, I was looking for you to humbly thank you for your work at the last meeting, but it was not the. So I think it's time to say thank you very, very much. I would understand if you didn't continue with this show because of that people's low self-esteem, negativity, wherever you want to come with that. But yes, thank you very, very much. And I would plead with you to please continue the show. Right? Because one of the main issues and faults in our neck of the woods is that information beats a lot of people. Yes, it's there, but it's still not going to look fit. You know, information beats me bad. I would not fault the Indian people. I can't fault Champion either. Can't fault. This election, I didn't fault him win. We is our own enemy. We pulled down we this election. We didn't left with not much. You understand me? We didn't leave us with nothing much. When Aubrey come in, Aubrey had a whole Aubrey had to fight out of a barrel. He had to fight. And when he do get out now, and he looking good, his own people didn't come out and vote. Right? They didn't come out and vote because of forestation, because of Nigel. You feel if Nigel and all these other people, the Collate, you feel Win would have been in that position that they're in today? Win would have get a push. But because we did not collate, make Win get that push. Because we didn't, because everybody crying for unity. No unity. Hence Win come and sweep everybody. You understand me? So, I don't know, man. It is very, very disappointing. Amanda Walton, shame on you. Shame on you. Nigel Hughes, 1,000 shame on you. Y'all wicked. Y'all pull down we people. Y'all. Nigel London was supposed to get all of this knowledge and all that thing. Y'all pull me down. Shame on y'all. 1,000 shame on all y'all. Aubrey, take up yourself and be strong. Hold up your head, champ. With all the rest of people that support Aubrey, y'all hold up your head. Y'all strong. You understand me? Let me be strong. Let me still continue. We gotta continue fight it and give up. Kadaki, again, yes. Respect everything. Thank you.
The only people that scar for unity in this country is black people. I don't care how much shame this scarlet pour on the heads of Nigel London and Nigel Hughes and all the names he called. The shame is on the Guyanese people, especially the Afro-Guyanese people, because it's not like you didn't have a party to turn to. You might not have had a coalition party. Call a holiday, mute your microphone, please. Are we clear? Good. Done. Yes. It's not like getting a party for Toronto. They had APNU to vote for. As a matter of fact, there are elements of the coalition right there because the people who disagreed with Nigel Hughes and the others in AFC left and they came over to the APNU. If Sherrod was the leader, APNU, AFC, they would have collected. Sherrod left and he came to the APNU. Jaretta left when she came to the APNU. All this blame shifting, I am saying. I mean, let me make it abundantly clear. Professor David Hine said, don't cause the people, don't blame the people. He got his reasons why. But I am telling the people how I see it. How I see it. You were offered leadership, protection, growth, all that on a platter, and you kick it down. Because you all behave like spoiled brats. If I can't get it me way, it's not something that could work. I'll take your short-term gains, man. Caller, you're on. Even if it's short-term gains. Caller, you're on.
Hi, good morning, my brother. I just wanted to say thank you very much for your work that you continue doing. Couldn't say thank you enough on behalf of the fighters around and the strugglers. I must say that you've done well. Continue to do well. Don't give up. We still by your side. We haven't give you up, and I know you wouldn't give us up. So thank you so much for continue to hold our fort. All right, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Everybody say, Mr. Anselam, don't give up. Let me take his call. Call you on. Good morning. Call you are on. Good morning.
Saturday before the election, I said it.
but set up this thing the way that they must get to, they're going to control 2/3 of the house. So when they make the laws, it's a Muslim black people. And black people don't imagine if they can't Muslim them now, they still can't since they talk, yeah, see they grab. Because that kid is saying out full. But we have to be chief and try to see walk out of it. They might be mark yours.
Call all the line of mute.
Mark might take yours, they make less something, they go push back, but clean out. This is your be this country. Later.
Thank you. Collate, you can unmute and speak.
Yes, good morning to you and your listeners, sir. Can you hear me? Yeah, I've been listening to your show from its inception. I live abroad and very much invested in the lives of my Guyanese brothers and sisters. Now, if the PPP is returned to power, I must say that I will be baffled that the people living in that country, especially over the last 5 years, would have needed opposition parliamentarians or Arby Norton to point certain things out to them. I called you this morning. I've never called. I called you this morning because I personally wanted to thank you for everything that you have done over the last 5 years to educate the Guyanese people, those in Guyana and those abroad. I made this call this morning because I think once this announcement is made and it's the PPP back in power, there's a lot of programs that I'm going to unfollow because I don't think I can take another 5 years of just, listening to issues being highlighted and listening to complaints. And it seems like that the people are powerless to really do anything about that. And I understand it's because of the political system in Guyana, the winner takes all system, as well as the brutality of this administration that's been there for how many years. I just want to say to you, sir, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for your call. I want to tell you all this. A little more arrogance from me. It's all well and good to say continue the program, continue the struggle, continue the fight, don't give up. And I had a television series named The Biggest Loser. The Biggest Loser. Who are you fighting for? Call your life.
All right, then my name is Kadaki. Good morning to your viewers. Mr. Kadaki, I just want to make a few points this morning. First of all, we have to realize you cannot blame nothing. Because you have to blame the in the camp, the UFC, all of them who dispatched and think that they could have won the election on their own and formed their own party was just a waste of time. It's just a sabotage something. And that now show that the type of people he had around him. So I don't think people should blame nothing for anything, right? Secondly,
call a mute and hold the line. Okay. You go ahead, sir. You go ahead. You speak.
Secondly, African Guyanese, they will fall for anything they get, right? They will fall for a penny now. They will sell the soul to the devil right now, and there's what's going on right now, right? A lot of people back the PPP, a lot of people back win, right? Because we all know where they're heading or where the case will be. So we cannot blame nothing for whatsoever he did. He did his best, try his best or where the case will be, because you don't bash him, right? Because he had the people who was thinking that he had them watch his back or where the case may be, but was his enemy because this body want position, the body want to become president, this body, and all of them who dispatch and form their own party. I don't even think they have a seat right now in parliament. right? I just hope for the best. Secondly, lastly, now
Paul, I asked you to mute your microphone or I'll disconnect you.
declaration was passed and declaring victory. Now, number one, people all know Region 4, the PPP never ever win Region 4 since they had election, right? They never ever win Region 4. We understand when get a majority in Region 10, we understand. But the PPP are already claiming victory that they win the election. The GECOM ever declare nothing yet. So I don't know this man run around with you and I'm going to think you need to humble and wait till GECOM make that declaration, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you for that call. Listen, I'm trying to facilitate everybody. I might be in a call. If you get answered and I say to mute your microphone, please do that. Otherwise, I'll just disconnect you. I was saying, everybody say, Mr. Amsterdam, don't give up. Keep the program, keep the fight. I intend to keep the program. I did say I'm going to change the format of the program. I intend to continue to represent issues, but I intend to hang myself out on a limb like I've been doing for the last 5 years. Because I'm not going to be the biggest loser. My family will not be made to suffer because Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese especially, are hard and selfish. Everybody got to sit down on their own bottom. Everybody got to carry their own pong. Call you on. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. I understand your anger. You have a right to be angry because the reason why is you fighting for the good of the people. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of with Moses and the Israelites. When you tried to set them free, there was a lot of them that was opposing their own freedom. And the reason why, because now when Moses set them free and they went into the wilderness, they did not adapt to the environment that they was in. So some of them say it's better they be back where they was and get the suffering. So I understand what you're doing. You see, and you cannot fight a person or deliver a person who was living so long in mental slavery, and then you try to break that chain. They don't want to be set free. You could see they don't want to set free, so they rather be back into the slavery, into the mental slavery, and they like, sometimes they like their own punishment. Some people is not to be set free. No matter how you give your life for them, they are not to be set free, because the people you set free is the same people who turn back and want to crucify you. So whatsoever choice you make, you have done, and you have helped them, and yet still they do not understand. So I understand the frustration. So don't what other people say, well, don't give up. They are not in your position when you give all your strength, all your energy. Sometimes it comes a time you have to give up because it will drain the energy from you. So that is all I have to say. I appreciate what you did because I've been following your show for a long time. And during your prostration, you still did not give up with them. But it comes a time you have to give up and let them go and feel the consequence. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good morning. I tend to differ from you guys' opinion there. If you're playing a cricket match and you're a captain and the team lose, you have to take the responsibility. If you were the opposition leader and you lose, you, the leader, have to take the responsibility. Or however, wherever you make a mistake, he has to take the responsibility. Nobody else can. You can't throw it at people, the young people and this people and that people. Whatever reason it is, he was the captain. He was the captain. If he win, let's say some miracle, and they say, oh, APNU win. Who would they would say, oh, he's a magician. He was the best masterpiece. He was this, he was that. But look how he articulated, won the election. Wow, he's a genius. The same way, if you lose as a captain, you have to take the responsibility. The buck stop with you. It's not nothing against Mr. Martin or against whoever is the leader. If PPP lose, then whoever run the show, they have to take the responsibility. That's how things work in the world. No one can ever keep saying, oh, it's not Mr. Martin's fault. He was the leader of the opposition. He didn't become the leader for 6 months or 3 months. He's the leader for about several years. Whatever was fair or whatever he had to do, he had to do it. He had to figure a way to do it to win. By the hooks and by the crooks. That's the reality. People
Call on mute and hold, please.
No, because you can't blame him. He was the leader. If you win,
Call on mute and hold, please.
The articulation and all the glory would have gone to him. Say, oh, Mr. North is a genius. He was so. That's how it is. That's how it is. The buck stopped with him. Please, people, understand. He lose. It's not the end of the world, but the buck stopped with him. That's the reality. Whether the young blacks do this or do that or whatever, crazy people that behind or not behind, he was the leader of the main opposition party. And we have to accept, because that's the reality. If it is that the election declared when he lose, who do you want to blame? You have to blame him, because he is the leader. If he won, who get the glory? He is the leader. He's a magician. He would have been one of the best politicians ever.
Caller, you're repeating the point. Thank you. Others need to talk.
That's the reality, my man. So,
caller, you have repeated the point twice or thrice. Thank you.
I'm just repeating.
Caller, you're on. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Thank you for your service and what you've been doing, and I hope you continue. Now, we as Guyanese not looking at the hands. I think personally that you see those EU countries and Exxon and all of them, those are the hands behind this whole election. An African person to run the oil country, they wouldn't want that. So the divide and conquer old process, they are part of it. And for the Exxon and the new party win, they would implement things like that if they realize that the PPP was the worst and most corrupt. So they're going to take the next corrupt person because they can control that person. It's a game. Are we not seeing it? The hands behind Guyana, oil-rich country, is the EU countries and Exxon. Yeah, and Exxon. They don't want the dark-skinned man. Yeah, they do not want an African person running that oil country in the region. Look at where all they've been in Africa, in Middle East, now they're in South America. This old game with Venezuela and all this BS, trust me, look at game. Look at the game. People not looking at the game. Is they divide up that country, divide up parties, and every shit to show this person confusion because they want back that same party that they are instructing them to do what they are doing. They don't. What we Guyanese and African people don't realize. They don't care about black people. I don't know when we're gonna get it, but as they say, some of us has to be collateral damage. Have a good morning and continue your good job.
Thank you, caller. I am saying this, and I'm saying this unambiguously. I am blaming no EU. I am blaming no ABCDE country. I blaming the voters. The voters are a choice to make. We have said consistently, and I have said consistently, we know the PPP going to try to rig the election. Go out there in your numbers and vote against them, so it will be more difficult for them to rig the election. Even if they rig, your numbers in which you vote must outdo their rigging. We had an election with the lowest turnout. You had an exceptionally low turnout at the elections.
So you want to blame the EU for people turning out low? Call all the line.
Okay,
you want to blame the EU because people in turn out and vote? You want to blame Arby Norton because people in turn out and vote? The previous caller said blame Arby Norton because he's the leader. Yes. You must take responsibility. Yes. Arby Norton could have held each and every one of the voters and take them into the polling booth and make them mark X? No. Parents have to take responsibility for the children. Yeah. Sometimes we say we're sorry we didn't use a condom. Call your life.
Good morning, Brother Kadaki. We, the people are voted, they make the choices, and they're going to live with the consequences of the choices. These young people don't show no blame game for nobody. Arby Norton responsible for taking nobody to no polling station. He don't report for the campaign trail. He don't outline policy he had for them, and that's final. You don't do your work every morning from 6 to 9. You don't this program telling them what it is. Elections have consequences. So wherever it's the consequences, they're gonna live by it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your call. I see that I want to get Sharma and some others come cussing up. I could block y'all. I could block y'all. I could delete your comment. But no, I am putting you on display this morning. Have fun. Show your emptiness. Because that is what you are. An empty vessel. Call you on.
Yes, blessed good morning to one and all. First of all, people are jumping on the live and throwing blames and saying who should be responsible, who should not be responsible. The thing I'm going to start here. First of all, there hasn't been a declaration, much less a concession. So I don't think that people should point fingers and say that Aubrey Norton should take responsibility, because we don't know what is going to happen eventually, and we don't know what he's going to say eventually. So that person, I think that's kind of premature. We're talking there. I think they could have been sent to anyhow. And also I like how you've been answering these people in terms of the statement that you're making, that your main blame goes on the electorate, and I think that's a correct way to stand, because the most important thing the only evidence that we have right now, because again there's no declaration, the only evidence that we have now that there was low turnout, right, countrywide, statewide, low turnout. So I would support you by blaming the electorate for not turning out, even though they would have. We've been going through this for nearly 5 years now, and we've been preaching. People have been calling on this live on these programs here. You've been talking about it. Dr. Heinz has been talking about it. Mark Benchcap, all these people have been talking about this, and people refuse not to listen. And even if they listen, they act contrary. So I think the electorate is to blame, and I support that argument. Thank you.
Much for your 5-year service that you was doing. I really appreciate it. Now, my thing for today is, I wouldn't blame what the caller say. You blame the white European country, blame this. Them is not telling people for low turnout and all the supporters who go and say that. I question some of them, call them election day morning, ask them, y'all going to vote? Yes, who are you going to vote for? I going to vote for Win. I tell them straight up. I said, if you go for vote for Win, Win cannot win the election, right? So it's waste, your vote going to be waste, right? I said, look, are we giving the students who going back to university $50,000 a month? pensioners that say y'all get uncle, auntie, cousin who collecting pension and collect $100,000, right? Who over 18 and less than 400,000 a month gonna get a free house flat. Y'all didn't see that. I said, okay. Enough of them promised me that, and it didn't happen. I said, okay. Just like how you want to say you're going to go and give this party your vote. It's the same thing, but who put the best policy, them is the person you go by. But what I see with Guyanese, they always want things in them hand right away. If you give them a 10,000 and you say, okay, every month I'm going to give you 20, but if I give you $10,000 right now in your hand, I say, okay, take this. They want that. But if, and the rest of the month, they don't have anything, but if they know that every month they come in, they're getting something from you, they will think they want something right away in their hand. That I see one of them, I actually, that was 2019. I said, if I give you $5,000 on your salary, right? And if I come and I give you $5,000 in your 20,000 in your hand one time, and after that, I finish with you for the year. But every 12, 5 to 6 days, $60,000 you don't get when the year done in your salary, right? He said you rather the big amount. I said you don't watch at the big amount, the small amount. Watch it, the difference. You will get more when the year comes. Right? But all what I'm saying, I surprised the Linden because his money had to buy the voters from Linden and they go with money. And I will see what the development gonna be for them for the next 5 years. Same thing when enough of them was saying, I voted for Trump. When Trump come, right? When Trump started putting the sanction on this and people and doing this and putting tariff on these people, all of them balling now. It's the same thing gonna happen in Guyana. A lot of them gonna ball for the new year come. Kadaki, thank you again for your 5-year service, and I know what it takes money for run a program. So people are saying, continue. Continue, right? You have like bills to pay, internet bills to pay. People do not see things, right? Thank you again for your program, and you do what's so the best. Have a good day.
Thank you for your call. All right, I see there's a whole long list of voice notes. It means I'm not taking any more calls. Please don't call me. Let's play voice notes. Here we go. Somebody didn't understand the instruction. Or they don't care to listen to it. Which one?
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, viewers. Mr. Amsterdam, you and Mr. Hines and the APNU did the best you guys can. I can't understand why Mr. Hughes did not come on board. This fight here is a fight to make sure that the PPP is out of office. Forward Guyana, they on the one side. How it looking now for them? How is it looking now for them? It's not looking good. Collate. People is frustrated. Is why people is saying, the ordinary Guyanese is saying, to get a PPP out, you have to collate. Now, what this small party is going to tell people, and what are going to tell the supporters? I'm looking from the outside, it's not looking good for Forward Guyana or Niger Youth Party. It's not looking good. This was a chance that the coalition had to bring it home. Look, the problem and confusion now. This is so wrong. And I blame Forward Guyana and I blame Niger Youth Party because they did not collate. We don't know who win this election. We don't know. It is so sad. And I'm so upset that people did not go out and vote with all that is going on, with especially African Guyanese. They still didn't go out and vote.
Ms. Kadaki, good morning. Good morning to you and your viewers. Ms. Kadaki, this man borrowed Jack Dio. This man like he's a hypocrite, or this man like he running Sinai, or he just hungry for power or something. You understand? This man like he's naturally a lunatic. No, he never wait on GECOM to make a final declaration. He don't run out. You know, this man just doing every single thing. But Ali is the president. Ali never come out to say anything. Ali waiting patiently that when the declaration make, then he gonna do what we have to do. We all agree that Ali is the president and Mohammed and the other parties have to join and be opposition, right? Which is Mohammed going to be the leader of the opposition. Now, Javier, we're going to keep him big thing like if you know, this man is so desperate and hungry for power, so power drunk, this man drunk. You know, he keep him big thing of freedom, all doing big speech, and GECOM is the independent body will have to do this. You know, I didn't know
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Blessed Wednesday morning. It is really saddening of the outcome of this election, but you have done your best. The PPP didn't win this election fair. The rigging was from before the election started. My niece-in-law, she voted in Grove, and she said that her father-in-law was on the voters list, and the father-in-law is deceased since 16 years ago. So going to an election with a padded voters list, and then the PPP with a fake registration card, all the Indian national, foreign Indian nationals, a lot of them voted. The Venezuelans that got the birth certificate that is not really Guyanese, and they're not from most of them are not from Guyanese parents. They voted. So it wasn't a free and fair election, it was a rigged election from the beginning. And as I said yesterday, the APNU was at a disadvantage. And if so many black youths went with win, what win is going to do for them? And they didn't think they're not thinking about their own interests. So when things become worse than it is right now, a lot of them will come to their senses or continue in ignorance. It is sad. It is sad.
Hey, Kadaki, good morning. It's very disheartening, you know, that this is really taking place in the front of our eyes, in the birthplace of LFSB, you know, to see so many black people switching allegiance all because of money, you know, running down money. If Muhammad didn't have money, black people would never be in the win party. Not saying that he's not trying to do something good for Guyana, you know, but PPP folks would never do that. They would never do what PNC, so-called torn coats, house slaves, you know, and all of these names I could give these folks, man, who switch allegiance. It's most of the PNC them there in the win party. Most of the majority. That's why Mr. Aubrey Norton catch hell yesterday. You understand? But they're gonna learn though.
Good morning to you, Mr. Kadaki, and to the listening public. After sending that voice note yesterday morning, I listened to you. You got so angry of a factual voice note that you went on to attack me academically. It is true. I don't have education, and I'm not angry with you for saying that. It is true. But I don't have no education, and I grew up knowing by Kira at the corners of my mouth. That was how poor we were. And I was able to lift myself out of poverty and become a millionaire with no education. So I want you to look at yourself and others who has the most education and see if really I am a dunce or you people really is the dunce. Anyhow, the only thing could come between me and money is my children. Nothing else won't stop me from making money. And I put aside everything in 2020 election. I went and put my vote for the APNU. Likewise, hundreds of thousands of Africans did the same thing as I did. Now you're saying to me, and by extension to the Afro-Guyanese, we must hold ourselves accountable for what happened a few days ago. No, you and your government has to hold yourself accountable for what happened. Because we went out there and give you our vote, give you all our vote, and y'all won that election and refused to accept the presidency. What do you expect people must do at this election here? You said that if I had shared that same energy that I said yesterday with the coalition, it could have helped in some form of shape. But I have given you many times advice on your program, and you have never let one day one advice taken into consideration and use it. Probably would have won this election. You all would have won this election. And so one of the things I said to you is that social media is not for opposition. It is for the government. All eyes is on the government. The opposition need to be on the ground, in the streets, in every home, and tell people what they want to hear. When Abinati pulled back himself from protesting, he disconnected himself from his supporters. Based on protest, tell you how strong you are. And so you all have to hold yourself accountable for what transpired. Anyway, my Black African brothers and sisters, it is done already. Now we are going to win your vote, thinking he's going to become the next president. We all are seeing a turn now. The PPP is preparing to receive 36 seats. If I don't know if it would be approved or what would happen, but that majority there, whether we're going to parliament or not, it makes no sense. So you are back to square one. And now Jack will execute his plan according to social media. You're gonna make your security and watch bay owners. I want you to experience some Creole, like what I experienced as a little child. Then you are gonna know. Black people is the only people I see is vote for another ethnicity to be the guard, the leader, and the provider. But no other man want the black man to be the leader. Only the black man want the next ethnicity to be his leader. Kudos to y'all. You asked a question yesterday. When I said yeah, looking thin, and asking how me gonna be looking, from an educated point of view, you shouldn't be asking me that question. I already left myself out of poverty, brother. Whether Grange government going power, APNU, or whether PPP going power, I still gonna be hustling all the time. Because I know the power of business and the power of money in this country. Until black people understand that, they will never be in a good place. So start being petty and attacking people academical background and be a mature man and accept your punches when you get it back, brother. Thank you for listening and playing my voice note.
And I like tell you, I like you see me face when I respond to certain things. The bodies of the opinion I attacked his academical background. You are listening to the program, you be the judge. But what I'm convinced is that some people could properly listen to themselves and their foolishness. I'm convinced of that. Some people could properly listen to themselves and their foolishness. If he could conclude that I attacked his academical background because of my responses, fine by me. He wants to know who's smart and who's stupid because of who is millionaire and who is not millionaire. That's not a contest I will get into. That is not a contest I will get into. I don't know who is millionaire and who is not a millionaire. And I bet you don't know if I'm a millionaire or not. I bet you that. Old people say MAGA no hungry. I will leave it there. MAGA no hungry. And fat no healthy neither. They got things gonna come between me and making money. Lots of things. Top of the line is morality. If it's immoral, you could keep your money.
Good morning to all. My contribution this morning is, I mean, we all would have opinions, it's human nature, but I would like to address the Black people. I think this election, the Black people has revolted against their forefathers, their parents, and their grandparents. Because if you're telling me there was a proposal on the table to give your parents and your grandparents $100,000 pension and all the goodies for your kids going to school, and you reject that for a handout at Massa's request when he feels like giving you a handout, something is definitely wrong. Secondly, I heard that Craig said once that Melly Mel and Rickford Burke is on someone's payroll. It just leaves you to think, because as of today, Rickford Burke never endorsed the APNU. He never did. And for Melly Mel, she said that let us vote for whichever party you want for once you take the PPP out. Is that possible? You're telling people to split their votes. That's what she's telling people. So it's left to be seen what's going to happen. Thank you.
Karaki, good morning. Good morning, viewers, listeners. You know, yesterday, it's almost like tears went to my eyes when I heard the Vice Chairman from Linden was saying, you know, they said, big man don't come down. Well, big man come down now. And you know, he was gloating and behaving and all of that. And I look at him and I said, you know, the same effort that you have made for WIN, you could have made that same effort for APNU so that persons can be able to get what was being offered. WIN, like I don't even understand what they're doing, what they're offering. PPP, just promise a lot of things, and when they get in there, they don't stick to their promises. So we waiting, we see, we looking to see what will come out from Region 4 and to see and I know PPP will put it in a place in a way that even the two parties that come together can't be over them, can't be more than them, so nobody can challenge nothing. They mean that they gotta get it all, they gotta let it first and last see. And when you look to see the people who destroyed the APNU, it's people looking just like me and you. But it is left to be seen. It is left to be seen, and they will see the end of it.
Listen, I got another million voice notes lined up. I can't play all of them. It's 21 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll try to play those voice notes that weren't played today. So that you can have your opinions out there, because that is what the program is about, giving people a chance to give vent, if I can call it that, and let people know what their thoughts are. In the meantime, stay safe, stay strong. I will repeat, I don't know what the results are. GECOM has not declared those results. The APNU has not completed crunching its numbers. At least I'm not aware that they have completed crunching their numbers, and any statement has been made. In fact, a statement has been made by, if you were to check Gordon Mosley's page, the leader of the APNU, Harvey Norton, gave an interview and I would say a short statement yesterday. Good. Basically saying, well, we are waiting on GECOM, and based on GECOM's declaration, we will compare with our stuff perhaps and determine the way forward. That's my interpretation, right? But if you want to hear it from, as they say, the horse's mouth, go on Gordon Mosley's page. I think you will find Harvey Norton there in a little interview with them. Yesterday that was done. Good. And please, folks, I'm begging you, there's nothing that can be as frustrating as people calling me the entire day to ask me what the results are. I just like you. I waiting on GECOM. Right? Please don't call my phone to ask me about the results. I'm begging you. When I have information to share about the results, you will see it right there on Camps TV, either on a live broadcast like this, or if it is in the time of day when I'm not broadcasting, you will see a post. Y'all give me a chance, man. I am a human being too. I am a human being too. I spent several days working continuously up to election day, up to yesterday. I still have to take time to put my regular, ordinary life back in the forefront. I have a sound system on the back of a truck that I have to take off and put it back in Club Twilight. I have to reconnect the music. I have so much more to do. I have to fix back the arrangements at Club Twilight because it was disorganized, so that it can be used to assist in the elections, their work, and so on and so forth. Y'all bear with me. How? Get a heart. Not call my phone for asking me about the election results. Good? I love you. Tough love is love too. We will get through this together. Whether it's good or bad, we will get through this together. Y'all have a great day.